you have hit out at modern day players for lacking fortitude in taking criticism.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned this in your column. But then again, you see what Harry Maguire said post-match at Hampden. Is Maguire not showing fortitude here, Simon, when he says, look, I wouldn't say I'm a person who struggles with pressure mentally. I've been through a lot in the last couple of years, and I've been Manchester United captain for nearly 4 years. You take a lot of responsibility and everything comes with it. And that's a lot of bad as well as good. It pretty much takes the pressure away from my teammates and puts it all on myself. It makes them play better for sure. So in other words, there's fortitude for you. You can direct all the hate you like at me as long as the team plays well and wins.
Yeah, he wasn't the subject of the article that I wrote. And I've not accused in previous observations upon Harry Maguire that he lacks fortitude. I've accused him of not being the player that people have built him up to be. I've observed on his performances, because I think if you can praise, you can criticise, and at the same way, I think more character is built out of people getting constructive criticism and observing upon it and improving. But
you've had a swipe at players for lacking fortitude.
Well, because they do.
But here's one who doesn't.
It's not just footballers.
He's demonstrating that he's got a bit of that,
and that's fine. And I would have thought that there was 2 ways of dealing with his current predicament. Because I think silence disarms everybody. I think the silence is the ultimate disdain for people's opinions, because people can't feed off it. Or you tell people you don't care about it and you're not bothered about it, and it doesn't in the slightest affect you. And in fact, it advances everybody else. There's 2 ways of dealing with it. If you think this is fortitude, then fine. Fortitude would be fighting his way back into the Manchester United side, overcoming the obstacles, turning the naysayers around by the sheer weight of his performances.
That's what fortitude looks like to you?
To me, yes, because words are easy. They're very easy. Actions are far more difficult.
Yeah.
And we'll see. I've never gone after Harry. I think his interviews in the past were robotic and not particularly insightful. And they embodied a particular time in Manchester United where it was being sort of tailored to meet the audience's requirements rather than actually telling you something they meant. So I think those are justified observations. And what people do is they turn an observation. I was listening to Ashley Young talk about stick and people getting stick. If you give somebody a critical observation, that's not stick. Right? If you turn around and say Gareth Southgate's ugly and stupid and simple, that's stick. If you have a constructive criticism about what he's failed to achieve in moments of opportunity or where he lacks, that's just an opinion, and it's constructive criticism. And too many times, sportsmen, I mean, boxing is ridiculous for it, but football is equally as bad at times, is that the moment you criticise somebody, or you make an opinion which is unfavourable.
Not in all cases.
Most cases. There are a few exceptions, and this may well be one of them, because the best form of a defence for Harry Maguire in this instance is attack. If it were me, and we're different characters and we're at different stages in our life, I wouldn't give people the price of cheese for it, because it's irrelevant what their opinions are. If I know what I am, I wouldn't fuel it. I wouldn't amplify. I wouldn't even react to it.
You don't mind people having a swipe at you?
Not really.
So why did you end up in court with so many?
Well, because there's one thing saying things that are untrue in newspapers that are defamatory, that are inaccurate, misrepresentative and damaging, and another thing, someone saying that you are not a very good chairman. I never took anybody to court for saying I wasn't a very good chairman. I took people to court for saying things that were fundamentally untrue, that were commercially and literally quite damaging.
Did Jadon Sancho lack fortitude?
Well, of course, it's difficult to argue that he doesn't. I mean, people will say, careful with this territory, because ultimately we've had the card that I say often gets played far too often, which is the mental health card, which sometimes I think diminishes the people that have got real mental health issues when it's played so frequently and regularly, and it only ever seems to come off the back of someone not performing very well. Now, I know that's a line to tread. I know you have to be careful with it, and all those people that are in that camp turn around and say, it's outrageous. You mustn't marginalise people's mental well-being, and I don't do that, because I've had my own challenges, both in my life and people very close to me, so I don't ridicule and parody it just because it's to be done. But I look at it and say, the reaction, move past what happened to him a year ago when a manager stepped in, tried to help him with some challenges that he was having, and look at the situation now. Your manager criticised you. Rather than accept it, suck it up and get on with it, you think it's your divine right to blow back, push back, and have an alternate opinion. Now, that may well be in some people's minds, this isn't the age-old situation where people own football clubs or managers can say what they want and there's no response. Players are different now. But players are employees, and the ultimate authority beyond the chairman is the manager. And if the manager says jump, within reason, you say how high. Within reason.
Yeah. Just on Maguire before I leave it, and I know I'm pushing you on this. Maguire must have spoken post-match to a couple of newspaper outlets, I'm presuming, because this is where these quotes have come from this morning. It's odd that we're talking about this on Thursday and the game was on Tuesday night. But Maguire has said he will not crumble under the barrage of taunts, and he believes being the punch bag for an army of doubters helps his England teammates perform better. There's fortitude. Kick me about all you like, but as long as the team I'm playing in wins, I don't give a damn. I like that.
That's fine. And I have no criticism for that. And I have no real opinion on it because actions are louder than words.
True.
I'm not interested in Harry Maguire's words. I'm interested in him being worth his berth in the England team and in the Manchester United side.
Well, he can't pick himself, can he?
No, his form picks him. So by definition, there's a reason why he's not in the Man United side, and it's not because people have taken exception to his dress sense.
Yeah.
It's because they don't feel that he's good enough to be able to be in the Man United side. And with being a Manchester United, like Danny Murphy said very well yesterday, it's not just being Harry Maguire, it's being the captain of arguably the most famous club in the world that gets, or certainly the most famous club in England, that gains and garners the most media eyes, the most media expectation, and your performances have diminished.
Yeah.
So with that comes criticism.
All right.
The booing stuff, Jim,
Yeah.
we're all in the same place. Just because I've turned around and said he's a mediocre centre-half does not mean I suggest that people booing him is a constructive... Once he's been picked, he's been picked.
Yeah.
What's the point of booing him on the pitch? That achieves nothing for anybody. In his eyes,
Yeah.
what it does is it makes everybody better. I think that's a little bit deranged.
I've got to say, if ever the word fortitude was invented for anyone, it's you. Did you ever flounder at any time in your ownership at Palace? Did you ever think, in the quietness of a room, I'm not going to get through this?
No, I wish I had done. Otherwise, I'd have a few more quid. No, because I think, look, fortitude, stupidity, a fool and his money being lucky enough to get together in the first place, I don't know. They're all things that come in the mix. I think you are what you are. The mistakes that I made were honest mistakes, and I made plenty of them. And I'm a strong character. But you will always, everybody, in the moments of darkness, when you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, the only person that's looking back at you in the mirror is yourself, have reservations about the things you're doing or the mistakes that you're making or the course that you've taken.
Yeah.
But you've got to back yourself in life. You've got to back yourself for an industry that at times left me very bereft of value in myself. To then spend time commenting on it is an element of fortitude. I'm not patting myself on the back.
No, I like that. In this wonderful column, and it is a good column in the Mail today. You also, it's all right. You also write about the Saudis. I want to touch on that as well because I hear a large number of people around the country go, "Oh no, he's not going to talk about Saudis again," and Saudi Arabia's influence in the game. It's there. But Simon picks up on it this morning in his column. We'll talk about that in a moment, talk about a whole bunch of things. But you bring us a couple of solutions regarding what the Saudis are trying to do, and I'm going to explore those with you. I like that paragraph at the very bottom. Listen to White and Jordan every weekday on talkSPORT from 10 to 1. You know what? That's what you're all doing.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.